Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games and RPGs. We're in with Twilight 2000 Season 2, baby, the Orphans. Although some of you have mentioned the Orphans haven't been featured as much as you thought. I would agree with you on that. I'm letting the dice go where they will, and it appears, if I can get it out, that Kanan Krieg does not want to be sidelined by the Orphans. However, this episode will focus on our Russian Spetsnaz. Now, a couple things before we go. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps the channel out a lot. These are a little bit odd, folks. I lose some of the board gamers with these episodes, so if you're role players or just like the story, one person said it's very relaxing, then please like and subscribe. I'll be sipping on a little Compass box. It's a blended scotch. Delicious. Compass box is awesome. But if you were curious, that's what that will be. And I'm going to make a second soul admittal. I was working on my Russian accent. And embarrassingly, I still felt like it wasn't good, and I kept putting off filming this show because I was working on saying things. I'm supposed to roll the R like red and slow it down. And then I'm working on, instead of saying little, I would say little. Look at that little boy. It's getting a little better. I might be saying, we will cross the bridge. The bridge. I don't know about that one. Or, be quiet, or I will hit you over the head with a brick. I don't know. There's another one that I can't quite get this accent part down, so if I were to say heck, it would be hayek. H-Y-E. Or, I like this part. If I said kettle, it would be quieto. Go get the quieto and warm up some water. I like that. Or respect. Show me, and I can't get this. Show me respect. Respect. I'm not sure I got that down. And then I love this one. How do you know that? How do you know that? Or slow down and put it to the back of the throat. So there's my Russian. I don't think I'm there yet. I may try, but I thought I've got to film it, even if I end up making Vladislav sound like an American in Kansas who can't get any kind of, he gets little respect. So, all right, family is upstairs. There'll be some noise. All right, as far as Vladislav's stats, so his sheet. Appearance, 6 foot, strong, thin, lean, brown hair, brown eyes. Very run-of-the-mill there. He is a captain in the Spetsnaz. Moral code is thinking man brute. So I don't know, it just came to mind. I think he's a very much on a thinking man, but still brutish. Brutish. Let's see, his buddy, or sorry, how he met the group. I don't have a buddy on here. I think it's just his team. But how he met the group, well, he's not really in the group. I just put Mother Russia. So, and his big dream, quote, I'm living it, end quote. This is what he was built for. This is what he was made for. So, simple enough. Strength, B. Agility, B. Intelligence, B. Empathy, A. Primarily not because he cares for others, but for his command and persuasion. We've already seen that on display. So we haven't seen a lot of them. And I had to kind of tailor this for what do I think is going on. So under that empathy, I've got a command of A, which will mean 12-sided die. Persuasion, B. I think he's threatening. Now, I gave him a bonus and a special skill that'll help bump that up in a little bit. Medical A, D. Intelligence, so we've got intelligence B, recon B, survival B. He's out there, he's taking care of business. Agility B, mobility B, range combat A, another special skill that we'll talk about in a second under that. And strength, of course, was the B, so we've got heavy weapons C. He's going to know them, he's going to understand them. I don't think it'll be his forte. Close combat A, he'll get in there and scrap martial arts, another special skill we'll talk about in a second. Stamina B. So he's this generalist that we've already seen his ability to command and lead and communicate. So I liked how he walked in, but he had a plan. So he's smart. All this stuff, he's just very, very good. So as specialist, I gave him martial artist, which will give him, he gets to crit in close combat on a 3 instead of a 4. Rifleman, +1 to range combat. So that means he's going to get a +1 on that die, and he's rolling 12-sided die. And then an interrogator, +1 on persuasion. So when he's doing interrogations, that's that brutish side that's coming through. Now, we had a couple things that we didn't know, like how big was his team. We knew he had at least one because when he walks up to the base, he's got his hands up and he raises his one arm and boom, a sniper shot goes off. So I want to give him a +1 on a 6-sided die. We know for sure he's got one more person with him. That's the +1. I don't think it would just be him and a sniper, but if we roll a 1, it's only going to be 2 people with him. This is not counting the Camo Russian guys. That's like a group that he's controlling, but it's not his Spetsnaz team. So let's see what it is. It's a 1, the explosion, with a +1. So he's bluffing quite a bit because he was saying, if you don't let me leave the office now, they will come for me. Well, maybe 2 would come for him, but I think maybe that leads right back into his persuasion. He's only got 2 Spetses with him. That'll be interesting. Kind of weakens him power-wise as far as a functioning unit. But let me make the note. I've got a sheet that I printed off that will allow me to do these other 2 Spetses characters as NPCs. But first, let me just list. We're going to have 2 Spetses with him, so a total of 3, counting him. We know 1 is a sniper, so we have that. And then I'm going to go that the other one is just more of the explosive and heavy weapons guy. Just because, hey, if you only got 2, so heavy weapons and explosives. Still very good. And obviously, they picked up these 4... Was it 4? Yeah, 4 surviving Camo guys, but they're not the Spetsnaz, but they're controlling at least that other group. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is they have some kind of vehicle that they're moving or moving around in. So I was thinking like a BTR, which is an armored car. Obviously, there's a BMP. I don't think they would be in a tank. But let me figure this out because they could be in a simple technical. So I think I'm going to roll, hell, I can just do it with a 6-sided die. Low will be, it's more like a low rent vehicle. If they get a 1, they're going to be in a Toyota technical. So, which is totally fine. 6 will put them probably in a BMP. They're not going to be rolling around in a tank or anything, but the BMP would be, I think, the highest. The BTR is actually what I think they would be in, but we'll just put that in the middle range. Maybe 2, 3, or 4? I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what it is. 5. Okay. So I'm going to put down here, it's either kind of not the Cadillac of BMPs, but it's either a BMP or BTR. So we will know, but they're in a fairly decent vehicle, and I'll flesh that out as we go. These 2 other Spetsnaz will have very similar scores for this. I'll flesh them out a little bit more later as well, with the caveat that my heavy weapons explosives guy, that will be his specialties, and the sniper's going to have a specialty on that as well, and we'll try to do called shots if he gets into it. All right, using my name generator real quick, we have our sniper is named Afanya, and our heavy weapons explosives expert Spetsnaz is Luka. So here's what I picture. Vladislav comes back from that meeting, that secondary meeting. He has the Camo guys in tow. They don't have a vehicle anymore, so we may have to get a vehicle. Although 4 Camo guys with only 3 Spetsnaz, they could probably fit roughly in the BMP or the BTR, so it may not be a problem. And I picture Afanya the sniper being a little more quiet, a little more introspective, and I picture Luka as being brash and a little more loud. Maybe this is me conceptualizing sniper personalities with heavy weapons and explosives, and that's fine. That could be what I'm doing. How would this roll as he comes back? Well, he's going to quickly fill them in on the gold. So, and I'm not going to attempt the accent. I'm thinking about even now, maybe later. Let's just keep this thing going. So I think he comes back. He has walked back with this crew. He didn't show up with a vehicle. He's going to leave without a vehicle. So he's bringing the 4 commo guys back. As he comes into, he's probably moved, I'm picturing further to the north. There is, of course, a damaged building. He moves into it. It's some kind of high-rise, but he knows right where to go, over a floor, up a staircase, and therein sits his heavy weapons expert, Luca, and I'm going to forget, Afanya, the sniper. And I would imagine it was in a position as well where Afanya's got a little bit of a blind set up, and maybe he's even in somewhat of a, like a burqa suit or whatever the Spetsnaz has. Photo coming up now. I'm sure there's a Spetsnaz sniper shot somewhere or photo. But he would have been covering long distance on him as he moved back with these 4 Russian communications experts. He tells them, hey, start, make a camp over in the corner. And I think he even puts one of the commo guys just on general watch out of the space. So a few steps back, binos, says just keep a general lookout, everybody's ready. And Vladislav pulls Luca and Afanya in and says, we're headed back to Warsaw. I like the back, they've been there. And I think Afanya is just like, yeah, and Luca's like, you're kidding me. I hate wearing the suits. I hate wearing the suits. Okay, brash, loud. He goes, they never fit. They ride up. They ride up in the crotch. I like Luca already. And he says, gold bullion change your mind? That attitude, that spark. I think at that statement, the ones most intrigued are the commo guys. I think they're kind of listening in and they're meant to hear. And I think at this point, Afanya would say, yes. And I think he says, tell us more. So Vladislav breaks down Kanan Krieg's statements of he knows where the gold bank storage area is in Warsaw because he personally pulled security on it. So there were some discussions that came up. Never fear, I had some great discussions on this. How much would these guys trust Kanan Krieg? I don't think they would at all. So right off the bat, I think Lucas says, we capture him and torture out the location. Vladislav says, thought of that. It's an option, always, but it sounds like there's enough that just having several people there to pick the bars up in order to move them could be necessary. So, trust them, 0. Use them, lots. All right. And then Vladislav says, but I'm not putting all my hopes and wishes in this Kanan Krieg. I want to find an Nosian banker that would have had dealings with Warsaw. Someone, bank president, that would know where possibly, what were the rumors of the gold storage in Warsaw. Will that person know 100%? Well, I'll find out. As much as they know, I will know. Ooh, what's a bit of the dark? Ew. Well, we already know from dropping off the other scene that the role was that Vladislav wants to gain his own information. He wants to have confirmation. He doesn't want to fully have to rely on Kane and Krieg, and he plans on whoever tells him this information being killed so that they can't then spread, you know, hey, Spetsnaz are looking around at Golden Warsaw. So we know that's going to happen. And we're going to stay with these Russians for a little bit. So it may be a couple episodes. Not long, but I think we got to establish who they are and how they're working. The other thing they talked about, I think Lucas says, man, we got to take the radiation medicine again. And he says, Vladislav says, only if you wish to survive, comrade. It's not very good, but I'm working into it. And Vladislav says, we also, I told them we would find some suits. So, well, I don't know. Would he say that? Well, let's ask. Let's go with random. Because Kane and Krieg saw some rad suits, I think, at the open market, and it would be way better for him to go get it. I think that would be actually more likely that he would have Kanan go get it. But let's see. So I think it's probably a near sure thing, 90%, that he would want Kanan to run that down. Ooh, 97. So that's a no. It's not a strong no, but he says, Vladislav says, this Kanan talked of getting his own suits, but we will find our own. I want them inspected. I want to make sure they're not too old. Makes sense? All right, find our own suits. So that creates that issue. So I think Vladislav says that he knows where would that be? If there would have been, in this alternate world, Poland was still part of, you know, the Soviet Union, so there would have been bases that Vladislav would probably be familiar with. So what are the odds that he knows a place? I think just probably somewhat likely, 65%, that he would know of an asset somewhere near Gniezno, if not inside Gniezno, where he could get it. Or he's going to end up going, you know, get with Marauders. But 65%. 29, yes. He mentions back when hostilities began to set up, I remember setting up a quick reaction warehouse. We can find what we need there in regards to the radiation pills and the suits. Perfect. So I think they will go do that first. He says, but we're going to need, oh wait, no, they have their vehicle. But where is it? They probably stashed it somewhere. I don't think they brought it all the way in. That makes sense. Move in on foot, stealthy, why be driving around? So they'll move out on foot. I like it. They're not taking the commo guys. They tell them to hold the fort. These three load up, ready to do business, and they're going to move out on foot at night to this location that is somewhere in the city. I like it. So they're not looking to get into a firefight. Doesn't mean they won't or wouldn't. But we're going to do a random event based on the cards that I've included, Urban Ops, just to see what they run into. And it's at night, which these cards will cover. What is this? All right, for my country. Ooh, Ace of Clubs. So this is on-road, off-road. And I guess we weren't on-road. We're walking around the city, night or day. So number of PCs times 2. Guards in daytime. All right, the way I'm reading this is rather than it being some farmhouse they found, we know they're headed to a warehouse that had Russian gear staged, including rad suits and medication. This tells me that there are marauders guarding this warehouse. So as they get there, there's no problems on their approach. They're moving stealthily. It's at night. But as they approach this target, what they're actually seeing is it's become a marauder's haven. Heck, as far as we know, stuff in here could be getting even sold out on that open market or that black market that's out there. That's good. I think that would be going on. So issue 2. Does Vladislav walk up like he did the base? Do they try to sneak in and steal what they need? Or do they simply pay for it? Okay, I don't think they would pay for it, but 3 even Spetsnaz, like openly shooting or confronting or even walking in, seems hazardous. To me, this has got to be a stealth. I don't think they're going to go brute force. There's not enough of them. I don't think they're going to do Vladislav like he walked up to the base. The Americans had put out there looking for Spetsnaz. I doubt these marauders are going to be interested at all. Although you could use the persuasion if he walked up. I'm going to go with stealth. I think they're going to try to sneak in. So, very simply, Afanya is set up in a sniper position, overlook and to watch. If is it going to be Luca and them moving in? I think so. You're going to try to take 2 in, and I could see Luca even setting up like Claymore mines in a fallback position. I'm going to go with that. And then it'll be Vladislav by himself going in that last step to try to just pick up what's needed, some rad suits, some of the medicine, and then that's good. And then if necessary, fall back to Luca's spot, all the time covered by the sniper. Perfect. Now, stealth. Stealth for Vladislav. I don't think it's one of his best things here, but what do we have? Well, recon's good. B10. So, all right. We know it's night. He knows the warehouse. He's been in there. Cover set up. Is it guarded with someone, I'm picturing probably very likely that there's at least someone at a chain link fence checkpoint. So 85%, is there a guard at a checkpoint? I'm going to even go near sure thing, 90. Kept bumping it up, 69. So yes, it's chain linked. We've got a marauder. Again, nobody that's, it's not like a Spetsnaz, but it is guarded and it's lit. Fine. I guarantee Spetsnaz are going to have a wire cutter or even, they're going to have a wire cutter. They're going to have it in their gear. There's even the bayonets are set up to cut wire. It's not the prettiest thing, but they can cut wire. So Vladislav and Luca, they noticed the guard. It's a static position in the light. Actually not very good for the guard's night vision to be under the light, but it's more designed as deterrent, and it would really work for most people from the city thinking they could just walk into the warehouse. Now, they have seen some movement inside. It looks like, I'm sure there's probably marauders that are sleeping there, or it's a base of operations because it's a chain link fence with gear. But they're going to work themselves around to the back side of the building where there's no light, or to the fence, and they're going to cut the fence. Meanwhile, they do have cover. So let's go with recon. We have a B recon. So that's going to be a 10-sided die. All right, we've got 10-sided die, and then intelligence is also a 10-sided die. I've got no other special skills. This is just, have they timed it right? They're cutting through the wire. So do they succeed? Oh, big time. I've got 3 successes, 10 and a 7. So I'm going to say they cut through the wire perfectly. Again, they have cover. I'm going to even say at this point in time, they get in among some crates or some containers, probably containers, And they even set up a spot for Luca to have like a fallback position. I think Luca sets up a couple claymores that he could trigger off, and he's sitting on some or he's carrying a more heavy machine gun, something that's got a little more punch. Nothing crazy, but definitely he could bring some volume of fire in and a couple claymores. This is Vladislav's fallback location. Perfect. They're linked up, again, overwatched by the sniper, Afanya, and Vladislav knows the layout of the building. Of course, he doesn't know where everything's at inside. And I'm thinking, does he continue to try to sneak here? Does he walk just normally, but take care of business as he needs to? He's got his rifle. He's got a sidearm, but I think he's going to just have his knife. We're going to work on close combat if possible. He'll transition to rifle if he has to. And he's going to kind of act like he's not sneaking around. So he's not going to try to walk out in the open and bluff. And he'll try to use shadows as he can, but it's not like he's creeping along. So I'm going to use recon as we move in, because he's still trying to be stealthy. But if confronted, I think he's going to try to go with persuasion or command, at the very least to close distance. Hey, of course I'm here. Didn't you know I was in, trying to purchase some items? So something along that nature, if he's spotted. Let's go with percentage first. He knows a side door. They're inside the fence. He goes up. Is this one door locked? They're inside the fenced area. I think it's 50-50. 57, it is not. So 50 or below would have been a yes. So he tries that door, opens. He moves in. Is there anyone what is it layout? It's a warehouse. But is there anyone just inside that door? Again, I don't think it's guarded. They're coming in the back side of it. So I guess the question would be, there's no one there. I think it's likely 75%. 75 or less, there's nobody there at this back door. 71, just barely. So he comes in, closes the door. There's no one there. He gets the layout of the building. I would imagine there are storage rooms that line part of this warehouse. I don't think it's just an open warehouse. Now that he's in, is he seeing some people inside? I would think it's very, very likely, 85%, that he's at least able to, even from a darkened position, see that there's people inside. Maybe they're sleeping, who knows? 45, yes. 50-50, is it like sleeping cots? 20, yes. So he can see at this late hour, the warehouse itself is also being used as like a secure place to fort up. And he can see what looks like cots, and there's cordage that's strung with even blankets over top, which looks as if it's divided off certain rooms. He can hear snoring going on. And the room, although lit in some areas, is fairly dark because everybody's sleeping. He moves down a row of doors where he knows things were stored securely. Now, are they still being used for that? I think we're going to have to see each one, because you might have rooms that have been created for sleeping or whatnot as we go. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the open room, there's some storage stuff, but he's looking for particular things. Knowing he was there before problems came up, I think he's going to have an idea of, hey, that was an armory. This was just stored rad suits. So I believe he's going to pick a door that he knows from past knowledge, but I'm going to go with 75% likely that it's still being used to store the items that he knew were there. So 75 or less, it's still being used that way. 38. All right. It would have been like some commander's bedroom otherwise. He opens the door, moves in. He turns on a little flashlight. He sees that it's still being used to store a lot of things, rad related. He's got a duffel that was all kind of folded up, scrunched. He opens it up and he starts grabbing rad suits. There's going to be more than 3. He's got his 4 commo guys as well, so 7. I would imagine, not knowing the quality of the suits or the fact that you could have some that are messed up, he's going to just package 10 of these suits. I would imagine they're sealed, almost maybe even in some kind of like vacuum packed plastic bag, just to try to keep them fresh and resistant, so that they're not drying out, rotting away. He puts them into the duffel. So we've got 10 rad suits. Is there rad medication in there as well, whether it's post-exposure or something that's supposed to help prevent radiation sickness? I'm going to go with, again, likely. Of course, it could have been used already, but likely is going to be 75%. 54, yes. He's going to grab, those are smaller bottles, and I think he's just going to grab as much of it as he can. Whatever fits in the bag along with the suits, he's putting in there. So we'll just, what's a good number? Let's go with 10-sided die for pills. I've got 5. So let's just go with, fine, 5 bottles. 5 bottles of radiation medicine and maybe something that prevents sickness. So 5 and 5. So we're talking 5 bottles that would have a lot of the meds in them. Is there anything else in there of use? I can't think of anything, but let's just go 50-50. He's seeing what he needs. He doesn't want to lay himself down too much. 33. Ooh, and it's a double, so we're going to have a special event. So there's something else in there. What else would be in there that could be of use? All right, I've got 9 things in here. So let's just roll a 10-sided die. And 8. So let's see. We've got food and drink. There's some MREs in here. Problem is, these are heavy. A crate of MREs are heavy. I don't think he's going to mess with the MREs at all. He sees there's like crates of MREs in there. He's already got the pills. All right, throw 1 crate in there. A crate usually has like 6 MREs. Boy, I don't know. But all right, why not? Food is always an issue. So there was a crate of MREs as well. Now we've gone long. So we're going to pause right here. He's in the room. He's got what he came looking for. He's still got to make his exfil. We will come back to see how successful that exfil is. Booyah, Vladislav.